This is Popular Front, a podcast focused on the niche details of modern warfare and underreported conflict with me, Jake Hanrahan. In this episode, we are speaking to Nina. She is a teacher and resident of Artsakh or Nagorno-Karabakh, the contested region between Armenia and Azerbaijan. For over 8 months now, Azerbaijan has blocked the only road in and out. As a result of that, people are dying, including children and pregnant women. Even aid workers are being arrested and spirited away to Baku in Azerbaijan. Things are looking very bad. So we spoke to a resident there to find out what life is like currently behind the blockade. Support us at patreon.com/popularfront. A lot of people are unaware, unfortunately, about the blockade right now. Can you firstly explain to us what this blockade is, like how it started, and just, give us an idea of how long this has been going on now?
Yeah, so the blockade in Artsakh, or Nagorno-Karabakh as it's called internationally, it has started in December the 12th, if I'm not mistaken. And since then, for already 8 months, Azerbaijan has tried to make the lives of people who live here just a disaster. It all first started as an eco-activist trying to solve some environmental issues on the road, closing the road, which is like just a nonsense because as it turned out later, there were no eco-activists there. There were like some people from Azerbaijani army or people who work for the army, and they were just there wearing civilian clothes and pretending that they are fighting for environmental rights. And that's how they first blocked the road. But after that, in May, they also installed military checkpoints. And after that, again, exactly almost 1 month ago, they closed the road totally and haven't let any humanitarian aid, anything possible to enter Artsakh.
Right. So initially, it was kind of fake activists, right? So the Azeris were saying, "Oh yeah, we're closing this road down due to eco-environmentalist issues." And then I remember seeing footage where later on they were burning tires and stuff like this. It's like, what kind of eco-activist does that? And then, like you said, the military are there. What do you think the real reason is? Why are they blockading this area?
So I think in order to understand the real reason, I cannot be sure about that, but that's what people here think about. The whole essence of the conflict of Nagorno-Karabakh is that they want this land, and they want this land without people. Now, even though we lost the war in 2020, 120,000 Armenians still live on the territory that we have, and it's tough. Like, living here isn't easy, but people live, and it's very obvious from all the statements of the people and stuff like that they don't want to leave the country. They want to stay here and continue living here. And that's something that Azerbaijan doesn't really want. They want all the people to go out of here. So I think they just close the road to make our lives more like a hell, so that at one point maybe they will open the road and they expect all the people to get out of Artsakh so that they can occupy it fully and then do whatever they want to do with that. That's my opinion and the opinion of people around me.
Right. So how long has the blockade been going on now? What day is this?
8 months.
8 months. And what's the conditions like now where you are? You're in Stepanakert, right?
Yes. So the situation right now is very close to, I think, a genocidal process somehow, because right now, so we don't have gas or oil, so there is no transportation in all Artsakh. No way for you to find a car to go to a hospital or something like that. There is no food coming from outside, like from Armenia. We used to get food from Armenia, but it's not happening. Then we're an agricultural country, so we kind of grow vegetables and fruits, but because there is no transportation, we are not able to transfer it from the villages to the city. So the city is hungry, kind of. Also, we have very severe issues with medications because, again, the humanitarian aid doesn't enter Artsakh, so we don't have enough medications. People are very, very ill for many reasons, and mostly also because of malnutrition. There are pregnant women who are losing their babies already since the last 3 months. The number of miscarriages has raised 3 times, and the number of children who are in hospitals for a longer time has raised, because when a child is ill or a person is ill, first of all, what do you ensure? You ensure that they get fed well, and then they get treatment. But we don't have neither medicine nor food, so the health issue is very, very severe. And also, there is simply no transportation to go from your house to the hospital. And there were cases that people died because the ambulance couldn't reach them on time because they didn't have fuel. And people are slowly and slowly getting very, very angry and very, very hungry. And there are deaths because of that. And pretty recently, I think 2 weeks ago, even 2 children died because their mother was just left the house and was looking for food for several hours in other cities on foot. And the children, they just couldn't stay without their mother. They went to look for her, and they found an abandoned car, sat in it, closed the door, and because the temperature was so high, they just died there. And their mother didn't even know about that for about 2 days because she was just busy for looking while looking for food. And this situation is getting worse and worse and worse. Like the food issue, the issue of finding something to put on the table, it's very, very severe.
Yeah. So day to day, for example, yourself, what are you eating? How are you even managing to survive?
So it's kind of hard, but actually, I should also say I'm lucky to be from a family who hasn't been unemployed because of the blockade, because this is the problem I haven't mentioned. A lot of people lost their jobs, some because, for example, they worked in restaurants or hotels, and obviously they don't operate right now. Most of the people worked in factories, and these factories operated on gas. And we don't have gas for so many months right now that we even forgot that we had gas. And we have electricity blackouts, and this stops the work for many factories as well. And it just makes the life so much harder. So I'm lucky to have my job and to have money to buy some rare vegetables or fruits that people carry to the market. And actually, in Artsakh, the only place where you can buy food, and it will be only vegetables and fruits, it's the local market where people from nearby villages bring food on their horses, on their donkeys, on foot. From the villages to the city to sell, and they sell it very, very, very expensively, and like you need to have money to buy that. So today in the morning I ate just so we have queues for bread. For example, you go to buy bread, you need to wait for 1 or 1.5 or 2 hours to buy bread. And for this past 2 days, our family couldn't buy the bread because the queues were very, very long. And until the time was for my brother to buy the bread, it was already finished. So for the last 2 days, we didn't have bread. And my mother baked some things like pita, but not pita. And that's what I ate today in the morning with some cucumbers that we grow in our garden. And for the lunch, I just ate plain potatoes. And that's actually like all the things I eat every single day. And everybody here eats all the single day because there's nothing else to eat.
How is your health regarding all of this? Surely that's, it's not, you can't really live like that.
First of all, during the past 2 months, 1.5 months, I've already lost 4 kilos, and my brother, my younger brother, who is 15, he also lost 5 kilos, and the health surely is very bad. He has some stomach issues right now, and I started to feel very weak. And when I get up, it gets black in front of my eyes. But I'm a young and strong girl. But my grandmother, she's very old and she needs medications, and there are no medications for her. And when she needs to buy bread, she needs to go and stand in the queues. She can't do that. So her situation of people who are old, is very, very bad. The situation of people who are pregnant is very, very bad. The situation of people who have young children, like babies in their houses, is so much harder because they need nutrients to feed their babies and to have strength themselves, and they don't have it. And the whole hospital is filled with pregnant women or mothers of babies.
So, is there any sign that this blockade is going to end anytime soon at all? What are people saying? Like, there are negotiations? What's going on?
There are negotiations all the time, countries decide to do some things, but it's all in vain because every possible court of justice, everybody has already expressed that Azerbaijan must leave the blockade, but we don't see it happening. And with time, the situation becomes worse and worse because not only did they not let the humanitarian aid come in, they also play with our minds. For example, we didn't have gas for more than 5 months, and one random day they decided to open the pipes for gas for several hours just to make people happy, and then they closed the pipelines again. Or they so because we can only maintain ourselves by using the food that we have, they are shooting on the fields where agricultural workers work so that they cannot harvest the wheat and make flour. And they are just making the situation worse and worse with every day. And they make they also use psychological pressure. For example, several days ago, they captured a man who was, so the only way to get out of Nagorno-Karabakh right now is to be very, very ill and be transported via Red Cross. But that is not a guarantee because several days ago they captured a man from the Red Cross car and took it to jail to Baku. And they are not giving any kind of information about him, anything. And after that, they also published lists of people who they consider to be terrorists. And this means that no man in Artsakh who has fought during the war and has protected their sister or brother or mother or daughter, they all are considered terrorists by their list. And the moment they'll try, if they are ill and they want to be treated they must be treated in Yerevan, they can be captured, and they will be captured and sent to jail in Baku.
Exactly the same kind of tactics used by Turkey, who have also blockaded villages like this before in their regions. What is Azerbaijan's explanation for this? When they say, oh yeah, we're blockading this, okay, first they kind of pretended that it was environmental activists. Obviously, I think that even for them, that story has gone out the window because they put soldiers there. What are they saying? Why do they think they need to do this? What's their reasoning for this officially? Obviously, their reasoning seems to be, like you said, they want the people to be wiped out without actual having to launch a new war. But officially, what do they say? Why are they doing it?
So right now, officially, they are stating that the road is not closed.
Right.
Yes, that's what they continue to say every single day. They are saying that the road is not closed. And if we want to get out, we need to talk with Azerbaijani authorities and they will give us space to go out. But there are so many proofs that the road is closed. Even the EU ambassadors, they were there with the humanitarian aid that Armenia sent, and they just didn't let the humanitarian aid come in. And they've proven so many times, not only to our journalists, but to all the international journalists, that the road is closed. And they state that they will let humanitarian aid come in only if they provide it. So they want to open another road that we have, which is through Akna or Aghdam, and they want to be providers of humanitarian aid for us, which is just very, very silly because, first of all, like, if you want to help us, why don't you open the road? Second of all, if you cared about us, why did you block the road? And third, like, do you really think that people who have been starving to death for 8 months will ever want to accept any help for you? Fourth, how am I supposed to be sure that this food isn't poisoned? They are shooting at our people. They are capturing our people. They say in their Telegram channels, in most of their Telegram channels, they express how it is a very onerous job for them to kill Armenian people, even Armenian babies. How am I supposed to be sure that this food will not be poisonous? There is no way. And also, they pressured the people here so much that I've heard this, and I myself think so, that I better starve myself to death than accept anything that Azerbaijan will give me.
It doesn't make sense either. If they're saying, okay, the road isn't actually blocked, so now I'm go and use this road near Agdam, well, why would you need to use the road if the other road is not blocked? You know what I mean? It doesn't even make sense.
They also say that they want to use Agdam road because it's their road, but they also state all the time that the Lachen corridor is also their road. Like, it doesn't make sense at all. Then what's the difference if both are your roads?
In terms of the Armenian government, do you have much? Do you hear much from them? Do they say much to you? Like, what's the situation?
Yeah, the Armenian government, I believe, and I know they try to do the most to support us. I'm not anyhow associated with politics, so I cannot give any estimation to what they do or how they do it. I can only say from the name of people, and so because I have my blog and because I'm in connection with people outside of here, I know that people in Armenia, people around the world, like not only Armenians even, they are very, very supportive. They try to do everything possible. Like in Armenia, people, they do protests, they gather humanitarian aid in front of EU and do close the roads. They do everything in order to make the international organizations see that they care. And Armenia as a country also does a lot. Recently they said they've sent 300 tons of humanitarian aid in here, but it doesn't just help to anything. Like Azerbaijan doesn't change its behavior, and because I don't know, I cannot understand, because every single country on earth has condemned them already and has said that they must and they are obliged to open the road.
I personally think that some of it is to do with the fact that Azerbaijan is now, best friends with the EU, the West, due to the gas. They're sending us gas now. The head of the UN or the EU, I forget which, literally was saying that they're our friends now, like despite, many investigations being
Charles
opened
Michel.
up. Yeah, right. Many investigations being opened up into that government by these same people, actual reports from the same people that said they're our friends that show it's not a democratic country, lots of weird things going on with the elections, the Azerbaijani laundromat where the UN and the EU is up to its necks in corruption. But now that they sell us the gas, it's kind of let's look the other way time. Do you feel that the West cares at all about what is actually happening with you there in Karabakh?
I think this blockade just made us realize that all the democratic values that the West has, they don't mean anything, because all they care about is the money, or like in this case it's the oil they get from Azerbaijan. And there have been so many proofs that Azerbaijan resells Russian oil to EU, which is just so funny, because it only means that all this propaganda of democratic values, all the propaganda about having about having people in the center of everything, it all just doesn't matter, because they just do whatever they do for to please Azerbaijan, as long as they need Azerbaijan. I'm sure when the Russian-Ukrainian war ends and they again lift the what is called sanctions from Russia, they will not need Azerbaijan again, and that's when they will start to solve our issues. But until that, I think they are going to support Azerbaijan no matter what they do, despite the fact that they are starting a genocidal process here. Despite anything, they will support Azerbaijan. That's what we feel right now. We feel very abandoned.
Yeah, and Armenia is allied in some ways with Russia. Of course, we've seen that that has meant basically nothing. I mean, the troops literally ran away when Azerbaijan attacked last year. Are you seeing any help from Russia?
No, not at all. Sometimes it's just so funny because not sometimes, all the time, because uh, Russian peacekeepers are here to provide security. First of all, it's a big question how did the eco activists close the road? Because on the same spot there were so many Russian peacekeepers. They should have not let that happen. They should have not let the checkpoints to be installed. Like it's not a matter of hours to or minutes to install a checkpoint. It's a process. And why did they let that happen? Why do they let Azerbaijani army to fight right now and to shoot at our people? Why do they let Azerbaijani army to capture our people? And like the funniest thing, they cannot provide even humanitarian aid. They cannot bring it. They don't have power to cooperate with Azerbaijan to bring in food and medicine. Like how strong are they if they cannot do that? But the worst part is that they bring food for themselves via helicopters, and these helicopters with food um, fly right above us every single day for 6 times. And everybody in Artsakh hears how these helicopters fly and bring their food. And this food goes only to peacekeepers. And like our children hear that. Our children who are suffering from malnutrition, people who need medicine, they all hear that. They all see the helicopters in the skies. And it's just, you feel so bad that these people are meant to protect you.
So you're saying the Russian peacekeepers, they get their food brought in through the chopper, through the helicopter, and then you lot just have to kind of watch whilst you're starving.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that situation. Of course, I guess it makes sense. Do you have any like interactions with the so-called peacekeeping troops? Do you ever see them? Do you ever get to talk to them?
Not at this point because they also don't have. So they don't have fuel for themselves. So they don't come in the city because their locations are a bit outside of Stepanakert. But we treat the regular soldiers very well because first of all they are like 18, 19-year-old boys. And me as a teacher, when I see them, I feel like I need to take them back to school. That's how young they look. And every time we look at them and we think like really they are meant to protect us. But we have problems not with the soldiers themselves because they have no voice here. They cannot do anything. They are doing whatever Kremlin says them to do. And we have very like severe issues with Kremlin and the Russian government because somehow say they are the ally with Armenia, but they support Azerbaijan far more than they support us. They are just not doing anything at this point for us.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably not even a surprise to know, but the very kind of narrow-minded people online say that Armenia deserved this because they allied with Russia, like as if Russia is even doing anything.
It's not our will or not our desire to be allies with Russia. The political situation is such that it's happening. Like I'm telling, okay, I would be very happy, and all people in here would be very happy if EU wanted to be our ally and support us, or the United States. But where are they? I don't see that they support us more than Russia does.
Yeah. How the local authorities in Artsakh in your area, how are they dealing with this? I know recently one of the leaders, the Armenian Karabakh leaders, was calling for people to go out onto the streets, that sort of thing. What's the situation now?
So our government is very, very supportive, and they try to do everything in order to support people and help us fight back. And we are very, very thankful for that. But what we can do within our country, it's very, very limited. For example, they are gathering all the wheat that we have to ensure we have storages of flour for the winter, and they are trying to organize volunteering groups for people so that they can buy bread and take them to elderly people who cannot stay in the queues and stuff like that. But on the governmental level, I don't know if they are succeeding in cooperation or not cooperation in any in leading any political discussions with Azerbaijan, Armenia, or other countries. I don't see any effect in what they do on the political framework.
What's the situation with the people? Like, obviously, people are very hungry. They're unwell. People are literally dying. What are people saying, like, day to day? What's the kind of mood? I imagine it's obviously very bad, but I'm interested to know, day to day, what are people actually talking about? How is this affecting people?
So the mood of people is very, very bad, but not the way that Azerbaijan expects, because all these strugglings that we are undergoing right now, it just makes us so angry that even in the worst conditions, we will continue to live here so that Azerbaijan will not get the pleasure to occupy our territories again or to say that they have the whole Nagorno-Karabakh. That's not happening because this is our land. Our brothers have died. Our friends have died for this land. And even though it's very, very tough right now, even though we didn't really expect that it's going to be so tough, anyways, people are so strong and they say that they are going to continue living like this if this will mean that in the end Artsakh will stay Armenian or we will become the part of Armenian country as we shall be. So even though people are really angry, like I could tell my mom gets angrier at me more often than she used to, even in like household levels, and also outside people talk a lot more louder than they used to. People fight a lot more, and it's very understandable. But the whole notion is that this is not going to stop us. This will make us fight, and I know if the situation becomes more severe, people will prefer to fight till the end rather than leave Artsakh.
Do you think it will come to that?
I hope not, because like we're not silly. Like we understand that our military. We first of all we barely have military, and second of all, like even if we had more, we couldn't compete with Azerbaijan. But if that's the choice, to fight or to leave, I know my father, my uncle, all the males that I know have told me that they'll prefer to fight for this land rather than go out from here as people who lost or just gave it away. And that's also my stance as well.
Yeah. What's the situation now with who is who controls the land, who owns the land? I know that the Armenian government in Yerevan was kind of coming to some kind of deal with Azerbaijan to say, yeah, okay, you can have those lands now. Where is that up to, and how will that affect you with the blockade?
I think it's not the whole Armenian government is Nikol Pashinyan's statement, and his statement doesn't have that weight to decide if we are part of Azerbaijan or no. We are 120,000 people here. We have our opinion and our desire, and one person cannot decide who we are and part of which country we can be. So we don't accept that, and Armenian citizens themselves don't accept that. It's just a weak step of a weak governor.
So you don't think that that's going to go ahead?
No, because it's not one person's choice or decision. It's a decision of a whole country, and the whole country doesn't stand by this idea. I think whatever happened under very strong pressure. I don't know who pressured, why pressured. I just know that he shouldn't have said that. He made a mistake, and whatever he said, it cannot be applied to us.
Right, I get you. So not a lot of love for Pashinyan then.
No.
To put it lightly. Yeah, I've very few people I've heard actually are really into what he's doing. They are all in a rock and a hard place though. But there's a lot of money came into the country, particularly at the start of the war. Are you seeing any of that now? Like, is there any help able to get in from outside the country? From the Armenian diaspora, which is of course bigger than the population of Armenia itself. Are you having to rely on that, or are you even able to get hold of? I mean, I guess if there's no food, there's not really much use money can do, right? But what's the status with that? Are people helping out?
Right now, money doesn't help with anything because like you cannot use it to construct houses because there are no materials. You can't use it to buy food for people because there is no food. So right now we don't use any money inside the country. Like it's a stagnation period. But before that, there were so many constructions for refugees, so many programs to recover refugees and to find work for them, find the ways for living and stuff like that. There were huge investments in education. But right now, like even if they send the whole money on the planet Earth to Artsakh, it will be no help.
Yeah, of course. Are there any plans going forward amongst the people there of what to do when even the vegetables run out? I just don't see how it can continue for another 8 months. Do you know what I mean? I just, what can be done?
That's a good question. And all we do right now is we gather all the vegetables and fruits that we can and dry them out and try to make some preserves like for the winter, just in case this continues. But if this continues, it's actually like you're right. It will be impossible to live in this kind of conditions because right now it's summer. It's okay. We don't need heating and stuff like that. But warm days will finish soon, and then we'll have to deal with heating the houses, heating the school. Or right now, September is coming, and children must go to school. First of all, there is no transportation, and many schools are further from the places where people live, where children live, and they need to somehow get to school. And they stay at schools for 6-7 hours. They need to have food to eat at school, but even the simplest things, they need to have copybooks, and there aren't copybooks because we don't produce them. They are usually brought here from Armenia, and we don't have like copybooks for children. Or if it becomes colder, we don't have fuel, we don't have gas to heat the schools. We don't have, okay, we can switch to wooden heaters, but we don't have fuel to transport wood from forest to the villages or from forest to the cities. And also we have houses that cannot be heated by wood because they are like big constructions, 7th floor, 10th floor, and like you can't install a wooden oven for which you need wood, a lot of wood. And that is actually a really open fire, like almost open fire in the 7-story building. It's impossible. So if this doesn't, if this continues like this, I'm very scared to imagine what's going to happen. But this may become maybe this may become a beginning of another war. This may become a beginning of a real genocide. It is already a real slow genocide, but it can become more severe. People will die more and more and more. Children will die because they are the weakest at this point. So I'm just scared to imagine what's going to happen. All our hopes are that the international pressure will be so strong, and they will just at one point. I don't know why they should care if they didn't care all this time, but I'm just hoping they will care at least for our children and give them the like basic rights for education, basic rights of freedom of movement. I don't know, just the basic right to have food to eat. I'm just hoping that they will do something because this cannot last for longer.
How many people are stuck behind the blockade right now, roughly?
120,000 people.
120,000. And you can't, like, no one can even get to Yerevan?
Once a week, there was a Red Cross car that would transfer 11 or 12 very, very severely ill people. And after they captured Bagiv Khachatryan last week, after that, the Red Cross doesn't operate either.
Wow. So there's no aid?
There is no aid, no medicine, nothing. So right now, only the helicopters of Russian army come in and out.
And they don't bring anything?
They bring food for themselves, for their military.
That's it. They don't help people at all ever.
No, they are not allowed. The Azerbaijani people check their helicopters when they get in here, and they are not allowed to bring anything for us.
You're a teacher. You teach children. What are they saying about this? How aware are they of this situation? It's a lot different, of course, to bombs raining down as was the case 2 years ago. But it's a tactic of war nonetheless.
Yes, no, I think during the war it was easier for them to comprehend what's happening because they knew it's a war and my brother or my father is fighting to save my home, to save me, to save my mother. And right now they don't understand what's happening because they are in this bubble where everything is bad. Everybody talks about the blockade, so there is no other topic. Like people talk only about that, and this is a huge psychological pressure on children. And they want to eat. They don't have the food they need to eat. They don't have nutrients. They don't have sweets like all the children enjoy having a chocolate or something like that. They don't have anything, and they don't understand why. There is no reason. There are no bombs. Nobody is shooting at them directly, but they are hungry, and people say around them that they will continue to be hungry for a long time. They are very, very psychologically unstable right now.
Yeah, I bet. And it's hard to learn. If you can't eat properly, you can't learn.
Yes, the concentration level, I cannot compare it to the last year because when you are not fed, when you are in cold, like this winter, we had classes. So first of all, most part of the winter, children didn't go to school because it was too cold and we didn't have heating system at schools. But when we hosted classes, the children were coming to school and sitting in the classrooms in their winter coats, in their scarves, in their gloves, in their hats. And it's very hard to concentrate on your class if you are sitting like that and you're hungry. And people at your house say that they have no tomorrow, maybe. So it's I really can't compare. Like the concentration level of children right now is like near zero.
That's terrible. Um, I mean, there's not really, by the sounds of it, I hate to be pessimistic, but there's not really, I can see like anything that the international community outside of, powerful governments and NGOs and stuff, doesn't seem like there's anything people can do. But if you had to, if someone outside, someone listening to this says, what can we do? If there's any way to help, like, can you think of anything? What would it be?
It's really hard because I also don't know. It's just, I think one thing that I'm very jealous because to Ukraine is that everybody, even if they have no single connection to Ukraine, they talk about Ukraine, they share the information about Ukraine, they care about Ukraine. But this is the same thing. Russia is a dictator, Azerbaijan is a dictator, Ukrainian people are suffering, and we are suffering. And it's very much unfair that all the attention is on Ukraine, and I would really want people to care, to investigate this topic, to read about it, to share with people around them, and to get interested in that. Because when one person cares about something, it doesn't change everything. But if a lot of people care about that, and they talk about that, and they ask their governments to do something about that, and the governments are actually there to do what the electors want them to do, I think that can change. I'm not sure if that will change, but that's something that I'm thinking of that can bring to any kind of change. Maybe if people demand in Spain that their government sends humanitarian aid to Artsakh, if many other countries want to do something, try to help, maybe that pressure from international community will also pressure Azerbaijan so that they will at least let humanitarian aid come in, at least let medicine come in for our children and elderly, at least some kinds of baby food for the children. That will be already a huge help.
Yeah. And in terms of the Armenian diaspora, are there any groups like out there that are trying to raise awareness that people can get in touch with? Because obviously it's tricky to get in touch with people directly where you are. I mean, we had to schedule this in a kind of tricky way because, as you said, your electric goes down. It's only up for a couple hours a day. So is there any groups like outside? I imagine the Armenian diaspora are doing a lot about this.
Yes, Armenian diaspora is very engaged, and They're organizing protests all over the countries they are in right now. And right now in America, there is ANCA, which is Armenian National Committee of America, and they are addressing their politicians or senators to address this issue and stuff like that. So if somebody outside wants to support somehow, and they can stick to communities. Armenian communities in all countries, and I know this for sure, they're all really working hard to do something on the political level in their countries. So, like, if there's somebody outside of Armenian community, they can definitely stick to them and join this collective effort.
Okay. Thanks very much for taking the time to speak to us. And good luck. I really do hope things change out there. Doesn't look like a good situation, but of course, if that road is just opened, it can all change quite quickly.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you. And thank you for raising awareness about the situation.
No problem. If there's anything you need from us, just let me know.
Thank you very much.
That was Nina, a teacher living behind the blockade in Artsakh, telling us about how bad the situation has got. It doesn't look good. If you want to support Popular Front, you can do so at patreon.com/Popular Front. There are bonus episodes, discount codes for merchandise, narrated articles. There is a whole new separate podcast related to Popular Front, of course, coming there soon, which will be Patreon only. There's extra video content, all sorts of stuff there. Patreon.com/Popular Front, or alternatively, you can support us by buying our merchandise. Look cool as you do it. Popularfront.shop. You will see there the pre-orders now for our new magazine. This is not the zine. This is a much more professional A1 magazine. This will be coming out in shops across Europe and the US as well. If you want to get it first, Popularfront.shop. You can pre-order it. It will arrive next month. If you want to follow us on socials, it's Instagram at popular.front, Twitter at popularfront_, TikTok at popular.front, and watch our documentaries at youtube.com/popularfront. For all our links to everything, go to www.popularfront.cc. You'll just see a list of everything there, all related to us, everything you can look at. Music in this episode, the intro was by Home, and the outro was by Sam Black. Listen to his music at samblackpf.com. Sponsors for this episode: Oracle Coffee Shop in Portland, Oregon, USA. They're an independent coffee business selling only fair trade products. See them at 3875 Southwest Bond Avenue, 97239. Grindcore House, a pair of independent coffee shops in Philadelphia, USA. One in South, one in West. Find them on socials at Grindcore House. We have a collaboration coffee out with them. It's called Flight Risk. It's really good. It's very strong. You can get that there. Go to Instagram.com/Grindcore House and follow the links. You'll see it. Final sponsor, Propagandopolis, an outlet selling and writing about historical conflict propaganda from around the world. You can buy prints at propagandopolis.com. Use a promo code POPULARFRONT10 for 10% off. Thank you to our high tier patrons. They're keeping all of this going. They are Peter Cherry, Lupe Calderon Garnica, Cyril Geist, Dali, Thomas Giuseppe, Viola Forvel, Christian Bustamante, Daniel Verdin, Margosha, Rohan Irvine, Ryan Barbadillo, VS, Brian R, Justin Katuna, Evan Pank, Bradley Hope, Wizard Actual, Benjamin Tupper, Siddhartha O, Cameron Collins, Matthew Diffley, Claire, Liana, Robert, Sean, Christianovich, NTHG, Arturo Rafael Macias, Ethan Zvik, Kefir, Peter Nybrayton, Gabriel K, AG Barcelona, Elise Middlefar, David McManus, Tom Petrie, James Leons, Bradley Davies, No Dogs No Hamsters, Brendan Crave, B, Dallas Dunn, LD50 Seattle the Band, Adam H, Brambo, or B Rambo, I guess, Larson 8669, Ivan Julien, Bjorn Kirsten, Diamond Steen, Michael O'Connor, Redacted, Nicholas Butter, JD, James Karpinski, Jav, James Cully, Ethan, Fitzmadrid, Ed Coulthard, D San, Mike Barone, Liam Williams, DZA, Giorgio Arani, Vegan Straight Edge, Amy R, Rubicon, Frank Austin, Amelia Me, Michael, Neck, Freya Northman, Neba, Noah, Andrew Hurley, Vida Provost, Bike Lane Bowser, Brian McLaughlin, Tom Lochrin, Young Wasabi, Tony Bin, JL, Stephen Davila, Chad Walker, Peter McCormack from What Bitcoin Did, Christopher Martin, Ryan Sandercock, and Maurice Zumbul. Thank you all so much. If you want to support us and get a lot of extra content, go to patreon.com/popularfront.